Have I ever told you my favorite Piccolo quote?
What? What's up, everybody? Robbie here with the Nerd Cave Network, joined along with
Zach
and Derek.
Today, we are going to be talking about one of my favorite anime shows growing up, and that is Dragon Ball Z. We're giving our top 5 characters. So,
Yeah. Dragon, rock the dragon, Dragon Ball Z.
Derek, numero 5.
My number 5 is someone that we got to meet, the guy who does their voice,
Weiss.
Master Roshi.
Oh.
Yeah, no, Master Roshi's my number 5.
Yeah.
Always good for a laugh. So
Definitely.
over the top, you would not think he is a master of the martial arts
Dirty
and
old
the inventor
man.
of the Kamehameha wave.
Dirty old
One
man.
of the most powerful.
Very dirty old
weapons.
man. And we got a poster autographed by the guy who's the voice of Master Roshi.
Yeah.
Mine says, let's play titty bingo.
Yeah, mine says, show me them boobies.
I like it. So, I mean, a lot of the Dragon Ball, I guess, mythos or lore started with Goku meeting Master Roshi, and that's
Yeah.
when his journey really began. So,
Yeah. And
Master
Dragon
Roshi's
Ball.
my number 5.
Yeah, and if you want to check out that awesome interview that I did at FandomCon, you can check that out here. Mike McFarlane is the voice of Master Roshi. And I thought you were saying Weiss because you actually interviewed
Ian Sinclair.
Yep, at
Yeah.
FandomCon. So I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, we met. And that's the one that went to my mind. But my number 5, there we go, is Cooler. Cool party.
You're not sending me to the cooler.
And the reason why I like Cooler is he was so different than Frieza. And when he transformed,
Yes.
that was just freaking beast. And that was so cool. And the supernova attack that he used to try to destroy Goku was just so massive. It was awesome. And the transformation is why he makes it at my number 5. If
Yeah,
you've never-
Cooler's very underrated.
He is.
because you see him in his 4th form when he arrives on Earth, and he's more cool, collected than Frieza was.
Frieza was kind of like the whiny baby type thing.
Yeah, he was. But to see the cool, collected brother that's very calculated and everything come to Earth to take revenge because he still cares about family and everything, and then he has another transformation, and then with the guard goes, "Ching," you're like, oh, damn, it's about to go down.
It's on.
So, number 5 is Cooler for me. Robbie?
Number 5, Shenron.
Really?
Yeah, you wait for them to get all the Dragon Balls together, and you finally see this freaking gigantic god of a dragon.
That takes up the whole sky.
Yeah, and you can see him from everywhere, and you know what's happening because the sky turns dark, and you get your wish made. So
Your wish has been granted.
So you like him over Purunga? Purunga was way cooler in my opinion. Just like those big muscles.
Purunga was more intimidating.
yeah,
He was.
but my first
Shenron's cool.
my first go back to when I think of it as a child, it's Shenron. So that's
Yeah.
why he comes in at numero 5.
Could you imagine if like Purunga fought?
Oh my
How
god!
awesome that would be.
Wow. But I don't think his biceps are as big as the Rock's.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
That guy eats like 50 pancakes in one setting.
He does. My number 4 is Shenron.
Nice.
Hey.
For a lot of the same reasons that Robbie said, but something that's kind of funny is that they spend all this time trying to find the Dragon Balls because they go dormant after a year. But he is so impatient. It's funny. It's like, please grant your wish or something like that. Or he's just very, very impatient, and he's kind of comical in
Yeah.
a way. Like people don't really talk about how humorous he is. Like it's very dry, but he's funny.
He fits your type of humor.
Exactly. So really, he should be number 1.
What's your favorite wish that Shenron's granted?
The panties for
I was about to say
yeah.
my oolong
Yeah.
wishing for
the
panties.
Easily.
most comfortable pair of panties.
Yeah.
So I've always thought it was funny.
My number 4, and I would have put him higher, but Goku's my number 4, and I love Goku. the reason he's so low is because I feel like that's a lot of people's go-to answer.
Yeah.
Goku, of course, is the main character all the way through, and when you get to the Cell games, you feel like it's finally going to shift to Gohan, and it does for that, but once Cell is over and then the Majin Buu stuff happens, it shifts back to Goku. And just how can this guy that is dim-witted and is super nice be the strongest person in the world? And he doesn't want to hurt people, but he will fight when he has to.
Yeah.
And
It's usually the toughest people.
sure,
Just saying.
we'll go with that.
AKA Kakarot.
Kakarot. So he's my number 4. What is yours, Robbie?
Where did mine go? Vegeta, the prince of all Saiyans.
Fajitas.
Fajita.
I could go for a fajita.
Steak fajita is my number 4. Fajita is my number 4. But, because he's always fighting with Goku, trying to become the strongest there is. That's his one drive, and
He wants to be the very best.
like no one ever was.
Dun, 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 dun.
But and even when you see him, kind of take a step back and get with a family, Bulma, have Trunks and all that stuff, he still, has that rival going on with Goku, and that's something that I've always liked to see from the first time you see him. Whenever they've had that first epic battle, it's just like hands down one of my
Gallic gun.
The Gallic gun is pretty epic.
It's pink.
My number 3 is the son of Vegeta, Trunks. Trunks has one of the more interesting stories
Yeah.
in the whole Dragon Ball Z saga because he comes from an alternate future where everything's pretty much gone to hell in a handbasket. The androids have destroyed everything.
big
Goku's dead.
handbasket.
It's a very big handbasket. So seeing the adult Trunks from this alternate timeline, and then you see Trunks grow up once he is born, like you really get to see kind of 2 different versions
Yeah.
of a story. And I love the Cell saga. Other than the Saiyan saga, it's probably my favorite of
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Z. And that's when you really get to know Trunks, future Trunks, child Trunks, whatever you want to call it. But he has, to me, maybe other than Goku, the most interesting story out of
Yep.
anybody in that whole series.
The thing about Trunks, I was going to actually ask you this, is which version of Trunks? Because you have the future Trunks, which is the destroyed world and everything. Then you have Kid Trunks. And then you have Dragon Ball GT Trunks, which is a useless piece of crap.
I was about to say that one shouldn't have even been brought up.
I don't count Dragon Ball GT.
I'm just making sure.
I remember the first time I went over to my aunt's house and my uncle had all the GT. I was like, more Dragon Ball, and I put it in. I was like, last Dragon Ball, no.
The only good thing that came out of that was, Super Saiyan 4.
Yeah,
I thought Baby was interesting, but
Yeah.
it went too long.
yeah,
Yeah.
My number 3 is an android, but he is the best android there is. He's had the best parts of several fighters taken and been put into him. Cell.
That sounds dirty.
Love Cell.
Cell. He is just the pure evil, and when he's in his first form and he's having to go to cities and he's destroying cities and pretty much sucking people through his butthole.
I mean, that's not inaccurate.
Yeah, he's taking
The life essence.
the energy out of people and making himself stronger. That was always creepier because it was just the music that they put with that and everything, and it was just really oh my god, this guy is not just going after the Z fighters, he's going after normal people, which you really didn't see. You saw Vegeta and Nappa kill some civilians, but it wasn't on the
level.
well, it was Nappa destroyed pretty much a whole city, or Vegeta did, but it was more creepy that
The
way.
way it was
Yeah.
done
Yeah.
was what's crazy.
I think because it was done more on a psychological level.
Yeah.
and just the way he sucked up the androids and everything,
Yeah.
it's just this huge, the way the snake looks when it's eating
Yeah.
its prey. I was just like, oh. And then, like, you just see, he just starts morphing into his, the next stage
Yeah.
up until he gets to his perfect.
The second form was always pretty cool to me because his voice changed and everything, and he wasn't necessarily stupid, but his voice sounded like he was
Imperfect Cell.
Yeah, Imperfect Cell. And then when he became perfect and everything, Vegeta let him become perfect. He could have stopped everything right, and then
Yeah.
Pure arrogance of Vegeta.
yeah. And, Cell used his weakness against him, his arrogance, and be like, well, you could really have a challenge if you let me become perfect. So Cell kind of, Frieza was really interesting, but Cell took Dragon Ball Z to a whole nother level. And the Teen Gohan thing was just really interesting to me.
Yeah.
So,
He's such a beast.
yeah.
My number 3 is the comic relief, which is Master Roshi. Thoroughly enjoyed, all the stuff that he did. He was so funny, when they were training in Dragon Ball with him and Krillin, just all the stuff that he would do, all the things that he would say, him being that huge, dirty, perverted grandpa was just hilarious. And Zach has a funny story about his grandmother that I love hearing.
So I would always watch Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z at my grandmother's house because my mom, it wasn't really my dad didn't care, but my mom would not want me to watch it. So I was watching Dragon Ball and Master Roshi, this is where it was more comedic humor. Master Roshi had found this watch that he could shrink.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yep.
And so he shrinks himself and goes into the bathroom when, what was her name? Launch was in the bathroom and everything. And somehow he ends up in the toilet or whatever and gets flushed. Well, my grandmother was watching this, and she thought it was the most hilarious thing, but I don't think she got the perverted nature of what was going
what
on.
was really happening.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because she'll bring it up.
Because I've met Nana, and it's just like seeing her and thinking of that episode. I die every time.
So it's hilarious that she would find that funny, but she didn't. I don't think she got the rest of the whole joke.
That's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
All right, Derek.
My number 2 is Cell.
Yeah.
For a lot of the reasons that you said. But I think the reason why that story maybe had more urgency to it is because the battle with Cell fighting the Z Fighters all took place on Earth.
Yeah.
Like with Frieza, that was on planet Namek.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the threat was there, but you didn't feel like the Earth was in any real danger. Mm-hmm. And even more so with, the Nappa and Vegeta. With Cell, you felt like this is some power-crazy lunatic that has no care about anything or anybody except for destroying this planet.
Yeah.
And when he lost Android 18, he was going to, destroy the Earth, and then Goku sacrificed himself for that. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, he does do that a lot. And just him having little bits of personality of all the Z Fighters. He reminds me of Frieza a lot, just not as whiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just, kind of the more, like, he uses what I call proper language, like he uses big words. He sounds very sophisticated when he talks, but he has no regard for anything, and he is totally ruthless, yes. So I love Cell.
I agree. Cell's amazing.
My number 2 is Goku.
Son, I will slap.
Oh, wait. My bad. Sorry. I'm used to going a whole nother method.
You know what
Zach,
that is?
Chop of Doom? My bad, Zach. What is your number 2?
My number 2 is Vegeta, the Prince of all Saiyans. Vegeta is arrogant and
Zach is arrogant,
cocky, and I'll admit it. Sometimes I do come off as arrogant. So why not, pick the guy that's powerful? And one of my favorite things that Vegeta has done was just how when Nappa was no longer useful, he just freaking killed him.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was just like, boom, you're useless to me, and that's how I live my life. So don't become
I thought it was a
useless.
quarter mile at a time.
It is. That was a good quarter mile for Vegeta.
And I did like how once he joined the Z Fighters and all that stuff, like you saw that part of him like just go away because you could see
It was a slow process.
It was, but like way later on, like you actually saw him like when someone dies, instead of not caring, you could see like not much, but you could see him, show that little bit of that person died. So going from that one end of the spectrum to the complete opposite was really cool to see.
Yeah, and I'm glad that it wasn't, a drastic, automatic thing that it took for a long while, because
he had to let those walls down.
Yeah, when they found him on Namek and everything, he was still a villain. He was still a bad guy, and he didn't really trust Gohan and Krillin when they were there, and or even God, what is his name?
No.
Not Nail. It's the other Namekian kid.
I can't remember his name.
Oh Lord, that's going to bug me. But he didn't trust them. But he had this idea of, okay, if you almost kill me and bring me back, I can become a Super Saiyan. And then him realizing that he's not the first Super Saiyan, that Goku is his rival, the person that always beats him to the punch. And just the interesting dynamic that had went along with that and everything. And he ate a cricket person.
Yep.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now you can.
Now I can
two.
finally say my number 2, which is Goku.
Kakarot.
Kakarot comes in at number 2 for me. Yeah, I was waiting to see if you would figure it, so you could tell me who that is.
Keep going.
But my number 2 is Goku because of watching him, because it's pretty much Dragon Ball Z is about Kakarot. So you're seeing all of
Dende. I knew.
Oh yeah, that's right, Dende.
Dende?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Dende.
But you're seeing his whole life story, because he gets out of his spaceship, his space pod, whatever you want to call it, bumps his head. He's supposed to be this ruthless warrior, just like Vegeta and all of them, and destroy Earth. But he becomes a nice person, and all he does is eat and train and all that stuff. So you get
Eats
to
a
see,
lot.
He does. So you get to see him grow, and seeing him take on these different challenges as they come. You had the Cell Saga, the Majin Buu, all that stuff. To see him having to push himself to that next level to be able to stop this. So, and also the fusions with Goku were pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Super Saiyan 3, the long hair.
So
Yeah.
cool. I remember when we would play the old Dragon Ball Z games, and whenever you finally transform into Super Saiyan 3 and you get that long hair, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Budokai. Amazing game.
My number 1 is the Prince of All Saiyans, Vegeta. He, to me, has...
What?
Watch our top 5 from last week to get that reference.
Melons.
No melons. But besides Trunks, he has the most interesting story to me because he starts off as this evil, heartless, entitled villain with a major Napoleon complex.
Yeah.
And seeing that progression, and he'll never be like Goku. He'll always be, to put it bluntly, a little bit of a dick.
Yeah.
But it's okay to be that every now and then.
Yep.
Seeing him have a relationship with Bulma, have a child, and to me, the most pivotal thing was during the Frieza saga, right before he's killed, when he tells Goku, it was Frieza that made us this way, that made us do all these terrible things. Mm-hmm. And you see Vegeta, you see the walls start to crack on Vegeta, and that to me is one of the most powerful and one of my favorite scenes in that entire show.
Part that I really like is in the new movie with the god, the cat, Beerus. Whenever he comes and Vegeta knows, oh god,
yeah.
And he's trying to be super nice,
Well, and Vegeta was also kind of funny in a way, again with that dry sense of humor, like with Shenron, because I remember. It might have been during the Cell saga. They're at what's Piccolo's other half? Kami?
Kami.
Yeah.
they were at his hideout, and Goku's talking about hair conditioner. And Vegeta says in that really, deep, raspy voice, he's like, I don't have time to hear about Kakarot's hair problems. And I just laughed for like 30 seconds. I'm like, because it was so straightforward, but it was funny.
Yeah.
The hyperbolic time chamber is the coolest thing.
Oh my God. I wish we had one of
Oh
those.
my God, I would love to have one. It would be so helpful in so many situations.
Yes.
So my number one is Teen Gohan. Okay, we saw Gohan from the very beginning, this whiny
Wimp.
but
Daddy!
he
Oh my
becomes,
God.
his anger fuels him. He's part of the dark side. When you really get down to it, he uses
He lets the hate flow through him.
yeah, and he busts out of Raditz's space pod and just knocks the living fire out of him. And then you see him in the Frieza saga. He holds his own with Frieza for a while and everything. And then in the Cell saga, him and Goku go into the hyperbolic time chamber and train. And you see the transformation really take place in that.
Yeah.
And you don't know this when you're watching it, but Goku knows he's not going to
He knows he
take on-
can't beat Cell.
Yeah, that his son is going to have to take on the mantle of the father right then and there and destroy the ultimate evil that's in the galaxy at that moment in time. And to see how it takes the destruction of Android 16 to push him to the level that he had to be at to beat Cell, that was something that was pretty interesting. And to see how his cockiness in that fight cost him his father. Mm-hmm. And he had to learn from that as well. He did a lot of learning in the Cell saga, and that if he would have just taken care of it like he was told to right then and there, he wouldn't have lost his father. And just the power and everything, and that father-son Kamehameha with the broke arm and everything.
Yep.
Just
One of my favorite scenes from that whole series is when Gohan finally snaps, and you just see the fear on Cell's face.
Yeah.
Like when he goes Super Saiyan 2, he just stands there like
Snap.
you could tell he knows that he's done.
oh yeah, just like that was the coolest part, and just the animation for that was just amazing.
Yeah.
So Teen Gohan, my number one.
My number one, Piccolo.
I was wondering if he would ever make an appearance on this list.
Yeah, like I used to love playing the little flute, the tiny flute. But no, Piccolo has always been one of my favorites because even on the Xenoverse game, my race was Namekian, and I kind of tooled myself. I even learned Special Beam Cannon because that's. But next to the Spirit Bomb, that is my favorite attack with Special Beam Cannon.
Have I ever told you my favorite Piccolo quote?
What?
I've never felt anything like it. Wink. But anyway, continue.
But you see his story evolve and play out with Kami and all that stuff, having to join and be the protector of Earth and all that stuff. So getting to see him and all his abilities, being able to regenerate, have the long stretchy arms,
And being able to split up.
yeah, was always so cool. Because I remember that first time you see him and he like splits and you see, I was like, what? And, like it just blew.
Yeah, and you can even look back at Dragon Ball where he was actually the villain.
Yeah.
King Piccolo was the villain, and Goku going against that and then killing Piccolo and him spitting out an egg, and then it hatches and everything, and then Piccolo becomes who he is.
Yeah.
And then the last world tournament of Dragon Ball was Goku against Piccolo. And that is an interesting story from them going to being mortal enemies, and it usually happens this way. The biggest enemy at one point becomes the greatest ally for
Yeah.
Goku. So
Because until Vegeta comes, that's like, Goku's right-hand man was Piccolo. And like one of the most iconic scene that I could picture in my mind was when Goku was fighting Raditz and he gets him in there and he's like, do it! And he has to do Special Beam Cannon and he kills both Raditz and Goku. And that was just like, what just happened? Like,
Yeah.
what did I just watch?
Yeah, and Piccolo is one of the. He is an intricate part of the Dragon Ball Z universe.
Yeah, he is.
So it's a good list, fellas.
Yeah.
Any honorable mentions?
I want to say Krillin because you must have some miracle seeds to get a android pregnant. That's all I gotta say.
Oh, she becomes a human.
She does. Okay, I didn't.
One of the wishes.
One of the wishes. Okay, I must have forgotten about that part because I've been thinking this entire time. I was like, man, he was packing if he got if he got an android pregnant.
For over the top purposes, I've got to put King Kai.
King Guy is good, and I like him.
Majin Buu was always interesting because
Kid Buu was my favorite.
when he turns people into chocolate and cookies
Yeah.
and eats them, I was like,
Yeah, Majin Buu is really good. I like Frieza as well. Go Tinks. I
Yep.
liked Go Tinks.
Yep.
yeah.
That was a really cool, little phase that went on.
When they were trying to learn and they turned into like the really old guy and they
the
kept
really
getting
fat one and all of that.
Yeah.
The fusion dance. There's tons and tons of them.
Deborah.
Deborah was pretty cool.
Turning the people into stone.
The androids, I really like 17 and 18. 16 was really cool as well.
16 would be my favorite out of the androids.
Takes off the hands is like,
Yeah.
that was just so dope.
Yeah.
And a shout out to the ogres and HELL, the red one. And the
They
blue one.
were funny.
I forgot about them.
So yeah,
Don't forget about Yajirobe, Yamcha, Tien, Chaozu.
If they ever made a live action Dragon Ball Z, Jack Black would have to play Yajirobe.
yes, King Yama and his mahogany. Mahogany. So if you haven't watched Team 4-Star, go watch that episode.
Well, guys, I think that's about time to wrap this up. I sure do appreciate you sticking by and watching this awesome top 5 list of our favorite DBZ characters. So we got some awesome content that comes out on our YouTube channel. What is it?
Stuff.
Lots of stuff. Like
Yeah.
What's YouTube?
We have Let's Plays.
What?
We have awesome previews of our podcasts that come out all throughout the week. And on Fridays, top 5s just like this come out. And if you have a suggestion for a top 5, put that down in the comments below. And we would love to know what your top 5 Dragon Ball Z characters are as well. You can also give us suggestions and have conversations with us at facebook.com/group/nerdcavenetwork. This has been Zach.
Derek.
And Robbie.
Rock the Dragon.
Dragon Ball Z.